I'm gonna start the video off by saying, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I don't give a fuck if some of you hated him. I wasn't a big fan of him myself. When he was alive, I thought he was a goofy guy. But I don't think anybody deserves to get assassinated, which is weird to have to say. There really is some stupid ass people that feel like that was a justified death. I fully disagree. Um,
I think the weirdest thing though is that people celebrated it though. They celebrated almost like if Hitler was assassinated or if Gaddafi was assassinated, where it's like, look, I wasn't a fan of the guy either, but we could all agree the guy did say some way out shit once in a while, but not way out enough to where this would call for violence. Would he disagree with gays? Yes. Would he frown upon trans people? Yes. But the guy, from what I've seen, I may be wrong. If anybody knows otherwise, correct us if we're wrong. But I never heard him call violence towards them. I never heard him saying, "Hey, we should get rid of all these people. Let's kill all these people. Let's hurt all these people." To my knowledge, if you guys know otherwise, let us know where we could look for links in that. So it's just weird how people started going to the extremes of celebrating a man's death. And honestly, I'm speaking for myself here. I'm either or that the guy died. Personally, I was not a fan of him, but at the same time, I didn't wish the guy to die either. So I could understand how some people do feel a certain type of way or taking it personally, the fact that he died, because for all intents and purposes, the guy did affect people's lives, either in a personal way or indirectly by people viewing his content, and it could have been positive and or negative. I would agree that the guy did, for the most part, spout some positive things. Like, he would encourage people to get married. He would encourage people to grow families. He would encourage people to get away from all that. What would you call it? Like a bad lifestyle of getting into drugs and selling your body for photos and for the people online. But for some reason, people just took that and ran with it all the way, celebrating this guy's death.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the ultimate like surrender or forfeit when it comes to rhetoric. Because think about it, your ideas are such shit that it takes a bullet. You have to assassinate. You have to kill somebody as a response. You can't. I mean, what was his deal? His deal was showing up to campuses, literally asking people, "Hey, let's debate."
He was a
You know,
debate bro.
obviously he was a showboater. He obviously, he did some of the stuff for the clicks, for the views, for all that. Obviously stupid. Like, that's what content is. That's what that social media content is for, to get people to view it. Would you make the most boring content in order for people to view it? No. So yeah, he was, they say that he would pick on college students. It's kind of true. But yeah, I just think it's such a loser move to say, yeah, we can't beat you when it comes to rhetoric. We can't really prove you wrong here or there, but we'll just wait for someone to kill you,
which was
because
unfortunate.
that way we win.
Which was unfortunate that some people did think that. Like, some people did see, like, oh, we finally won. The left won by getting rid of this guy. And it's just like, you guys are just proving the point of how insane you guys are, that you guys are willing to. I don't want to put the whole left in here, but that's kind of what the narrative was in the beginning, where it was like, okay, well, we could be convinced that the left doesn't really give a shit about free speech because they're willing to kill some guy over his words. And that's just insane. It's insane that people literally went to that extreme, if that is the case, because we all know now. How long has it been since he's been dead?
I think like 3 weeks.
We already know in the past 3 weeks some crazy ass stories and crazy ass updates have been going on, to where now, at least for myself, I don't even know if we could even say it was a lefty that killed him.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm all for the theories. I don't trust people that won't entertain conspiracy theories. I don't really trust people that would rather just dismiss them without even proving how it's illogical, without proving how it couldn't have happened that way. No, I want to hear smart people actually say, you know what, I don't believe that theory, and here's why. Because X, Y, and Z doesn't make sense, or X, Y, and Z is illogical. Not, oh well, you're stupid, or the idea is stupid, so let's move on now. I don't trust that.
Yeah,
It's
no. The claims are coming out that this guy got shot by a, was it 308 or 306?
I keep hearing 30-06,
If it
whatever
was
the
a
fuck that
30
is.
6, that bitch was a big fucking bullet. Last time I checked, that shit used to take out deer. So you're telling me that a human spine was able to take a shot to that to the neck and stop the fucking bullet? I'm sorry, but no, you're not going to convince me otherwise. I'm not calling myself a firearms expert because I'm not, but I do have experience with firearms myself. And I know that a 30-06 would go through a fucking spine. It would sever the head. And you could even look it up on YouTube what 30-06 does to ballistic gel. That thing blows the hell up. It leaves mush and nothing recognizable anymore. So for somebody to say and be convinced, oh yeah, dude, it was a miracle that his spine stopped that bullet. Bullshit, bro. I'm sorry, but you can't convince me on that. I'm not gonna go ahead and say that, oh, um, he didn't get shot from the front, because who knows? There's a possibility he did get shot from the front. I think otherwise. But you're not going to convince me that it was a 30-06 because
Why am
I
I
think
hearing
that would
so
have,
many? Sorry to interrupt you, bro, but why am I hearing so many people that are familiar with guns and stuff like that keep saying that it looks like a exit wound?
because it does. I mean, you could look this up on YouTube University. That's the beautiful thing about the internet now is that you could look up this information everywhere. You could go to TikTok, you could even go to X and look up just people shooting ballistic gel. You'll see the entry wound is always very, very small compared to the exit wound. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Entry wounds are always very, very small, as opposed to once the bullet exits. If it gets to exit, then the fucking hole sometimes is much bigger. It could be 2 times bigger than the initial entry wound. So that does, at least in my eyes, it does look like an exit wound. And shout out to Vinny from Valuetainment because I saw it from one of his shorts that now there's theories that he got shot from the back of the neck. And when you slow down that video, you do see a little coming out of the back of his head. And last time I checked, if he got shot from the front and there was no exit wound, why would there be blood spatter coming out of the back of his neck? I'm sorry, but that arouses suspicion, especially when people say that nobody else got hit. So then where the fuck did that blood spatter come from? You could see it. There is slowed down videos showing a little trickling piece of blood coming out from the back of his neck, which some people in the comment section, I'm not gonna say that they're basing anything on fact, but some people that claim to have experience, whether military or law enforcement, claim that is evidence of an entry wound, because they say usually entry wounds don't splatter a lot of blood. You do get obviously impact, you do get blood drawn because it's an entry when you're ripping through flesh, but compared to the exit wound, supposedly this is through the interweb, that entry wounds bleed a lot less. Like there's a lot less blood when it first comes in. That most of the blood that gushes out is once it comes out. So I'm pretty sure everybody's seen that video. That looks like a big ass fucking hole that came out of his neck. So that does look like an exit wound to me. To me, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a firearms expert. But for people that have seen the video and agree or disagree, let us know. Because I would agree with that. I would say that's an exit wound. Unless, what do you think?
I mean, I know less than you. So based on what you're telling me right now, there's good reason to believe that the big ass fucking splatter that comes out of his neck, it could possibly be an exit wound. You know, is it plausible that maybe somebody shot him from behind? Maybe there was an angle
Well,
behind the
yeah.
tent.
Well, a lot of people are saying that allegedly in the building that was behind Charlie Kirk, that they call him Bushman. Now they're calling him Bushman because they're saying that, and it's true. You could watch these videos, and I've seen it. I'm not saying that that's the shooter. What I'm saying is there's plenty of videos of people panning around the event everywhere. You could look this up everywhere. You could see different angles from different people that attended the venue. And you can see in some of the videos where people are panning around one of the buildings that's in back of Charlie Kirk, you see the bush, and then out of nowhere, you see something next to the bush. And then there's even another spot where you see a roof, and then when it pans out back to it, you see a little tiny dot on top of the roof. I'm not saying that's a person. I just find it highly suspicious that something just started pressing against the bush, and then there's little things popping up on roofs. Last time I checked, that college didn't have feral cats running around on the roofs. You know what I mean? I'm assuming if there was a bird, I don't think a pigeon would be big enough to come out as a little blip on a roof. You know what I mean? So it it arouses suspicion because now it makes you wonder. Okay, so let's just say it was an exit wound. Let's just say that initial blood splatter, that gushing you see coming out of his neck when he got shot. Let's just say that is an exit wound. So then, for all intents and purposes, all that what's the shooter's name? Tyler
Robinson.
Tyler Robinson?
I think Tyler Robinson.
I think it's Tyler Robinson. Correct me if we're wrong here. Then that just basically, for all intents and purposes, removes him as a suspect. Because according to reports, he shot from across the way at 200 yards away. And if that's an exit wound, how the fuck did he shoot him from there? Unless they're going to say the bullet ricocheted off a fucking building and then it went through the back of his neck and came out. But now it's not making sense. The math ain't math, in my opinion. So this is where all these new theories are coming out as to why he got killed, as to how he got killed, and as to who killed him. Because let's not forget, what did Candace Owens start stating out of nowhere? She started implying that Israel probably had it out for him. She started implying that he got a donation, or he was offered a donation, something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
That through some mega donors. That's what I think I heard from Candace. That through some mega donors, they threw around the amount 150 million. That's what a bunch of people kept making a big deal about. The point is, large sums of money were being offered to Charlie Kirk, soon before his death, and according to people on the internet, that he denied it, that he rejected that money, that he didn't want it. Candace is very set on the idea that he was turning on the Israel support himself, that he was no longer going to be pushing pro-Israel sentiments like before. I mean, Charlie Kirk was known to be the country of Israel's number one fan,
He was their number one goy.
And what she's claiming is that he was going to turn. We'll never. I don't know if we'll ever know, but out of his own mouth, at least in the flesh, we'll never know because he's gone. She recently she was saying that people better start telling the truth or she's going to release videos.
Oh,
I can't wait for the content that she's going to drop this week. I know a lot of people are dismissing her as a crazy like bitch. I know Nick Fuentes has a beef with her, and he's one of the ones that's dismissing her theories. Or and to that, I'll just say until he entertains it and tells us why it's completely implausible, I'm not here for that shit. I don't care who you are. I don't care if Donald Trump were to come out. Oh, it's stupid, and let's just turn around and look the other way. No, I want to hear why those ideas are stupid.
Yeah, because let me add on that real quick. Sorry to interrupt. Let's not forget, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu posted about Charlie Kirk being dead before the President of the United States of America did. And I'm sorry, but that's just weird. And that would be weird if any other foreign leader did that. Let's just say fucking Scheinbaum posted about Charlie Kirk. Wouldn't it be kind of weird for people to be like, how the fuck does the president of Mexico know that Charlie Kirk, an American debate bro,
It's for sure not going to make it.
is for sure not going to make it? Like, how in the fuck did she even find out that he got shot? You know what I mean? You would think, as the prime minister of Israel, who is right now supposedly fighting an 8-front war with all kinds of nations in the Middle East, you think the last thing on his mind would be fucking Charlie Kirk dying or Charlie Kirk getting shot. His first thing would be, I need to get my hostages released. I need to end the war in Gaza. I need to protect the people of Israel. No, his first thing is, hey, I just found out Charlie Kirk got shot. Let me post about it. And I'm sorry, but that does add a little bit of I don't want to say support, but it kind of backs that little claim that people are saying Israel might have had a little beef with him. And let's not forget, before he died in the past 2 months, he was getting shit on for having Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith over in his Turning Point event. They were talking shit. They were saying that he was a bad faith Christian, that he was an anti-Semite. I think the ADL even categorized Turning Point as extremist. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
So you can't really deny it. I'm not going to go ahead and say Israel did it. Not at all. But there's some things being pulled and some threads being shown that you're like, dude, we can't ignore it either. We kind of have to entertain that theory, because there is quite a lot of things going on where you're like, huh. Let's not forget, didn't they say that supposedly he went at it with Bill Ackman, or that one British Jew?
The rumor is, or the story is, that Bill Ackman and other Zionists, like influencers and power brokers, you could say, they had a meeting with Charlie Kirk somewhere in, what's that area over there by New York where a lot of people go to vacation, the Hamptons,
Oh,
and that, you know, Charlie Kirk was yelled at by people, that he was like scolded. And it would make sense because shortly after he went on Megyn Kelly's show, and what did he tell her? Do you remember? He said that my moral, like who I am as a person
it's
morally
being
is
questioned.
being called into question. And that's indicative of him feeling this kind of pressure to, like, blind loyalty. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You really have no say. You're here to support us. Otherwise, there will be problems. Otherwise, your TPUSA that you've dedicated so much to build, we'll stop funding it. Certain people will pull out. Like, the money that they've been injecting into your corporation, into your brand, it can dry up unless you do what we need you to do. So, and also, you remember that sit down you had with a few of those students? I think they were like chapter leaders from around the country for TPUSA, like for
Oh
colleges and
yeah,
stuff
when
like
you
that.
had that little TED talk type of thing, huh?
Let's not forget the sentiment in the room. It was people fed up with the idea of being sovereign Americans being pushed around and supporting the actions of a foreign country. No matter how
True.
people sell it, Israel is still a foreign country.
Yeah, we have
You know,
how is it that we have congressmen wearing military uniforms of a foreign nation still being public servants to our nation? I'm sorry, but if that let's just say AOC started wearing a uniform. I'm not saying she's Mexican, but let's just say started wearing a military Mexican uniform. People would fucking bite her head off. They'll lynch her ass for that. Like, let's not fuck around and be like, oh no, they wouldn't ever do that to her. They would, dude. And that's for any other person that went in. If Ilhan Omar went in there dressed up in her fucking military uniform from, where the fuck is she again?
Somalia.
From Somalia, which probably would have just been a bow and arrow and rags, people would have shit on her for that. Let's not fuck around about this, dude. Let's not fuck around about this. Like, they would have been like, hey, bro, what the fuck are you wearing? Oh, it's the fucking uniform from the Somali military. They'll be like, get the fuck out of here with your bullshit. But let it be somebody wearing an IDF uniform and nobody bats an eye. I'm sorry, but at this point, I mean, we got to call a spade here.
It's either the country is sovereign or it's not. And if it's
Yeah,
not, let us know.
let us know. That way we know who the fuck we're voting out of here. At the end of the day, it seems like from Charlie Kirk's death, a lot of people are becoming more like, hey, a lot of this shit is opening up more. The fact that even the debate bro, who was super pro Israel, wanted to put a stop to it, kind of like back away from it, and they started tripping on him. You know, it raised a lot of questions. It raised a lot of fucking questions. But aside from just the theory of Israel, some people are even saying that it was our own government that could have killed him, which I haven't really seen anything in my eyes that'll substantiate that theory, unless you have.
Well, I want to say this. I know maybe the message is all over the place, but I don't think there's anything about this story, about this assassination, that screams one person alone did it.
Yeah.
There's nothing that tells me one person did it. Therefore, here's what a lot of people don't understand is they're so fucked in their head that they can't grasp the idea of more than one person working together to make something come about, to get uh to assassinate somebody. All it takes is more than one person for there to be a conspiracy.
How were their security guard? How was the security guards acting?
Pretty fucking strange. But just to end to make this point, I'm getting so sick and tired of people dismissing conspiracy theories just because you're fucking dumb and you can't wrap your head around the idea of more than one person working together. Yeah, sometimes two people work together to kill somebody. That's a conspiracy theory because
Yep.
two people got together and planned something out. You're not smart for saying, oh, that's fucking stupid. Unless you prove it wrong, you're not the big brain.
Yeah, you're not.
And I say that because, so many people, they just go, bro, you really think X, Y, and Z work together? You,
One thing
you
is thinking.
you brushing it off didn't prove the theory wrong.
Not at all.
Like laughing and walking away, that doesn't prove the theory wrong. So how about we use our fucking brains and let's start entertaining some theories.
Yeah, because it just doesn't make any sense, dude. How is it that days after this guy got shot, days, not even weeks, days after the guy got shot, they replaced the floor. They dug everything up and
Hey,
they
maybe
put
that's
brick.
just a
What the
coincidence.
fuck?
Maybe it's just a coincidence.
Maybe.
Maybe it's just a fucking coincidence.
Maybe. How is it that the guy they get, Tyler Robinson, or maybe I got the name wrong. I think his name is Tyler, but how is it that the guy they get supposedly admitted it through a letter to his partner that was destroyed, which the FBI never got a hold of? Yet he hasn't been cooperating with law enforcement at all in any way, shape, or form. And now there's word that supposedly the guy's on suicide watch, yet begging to not be put on the death penalty. For someone that's suicidal, I wouldn't give a fuck if I get put on the death penalty, right? I wouldn't give a rat's ass if I'm being suicidal. I'll be like, fuck it. If I'm not gonna be able to kill myself, let the state kill me. Fuck it. And let's not forget, they're basing this off of text messages that he had with his fucking partner, which seems so chat GPT.
They're very goofy texts.
For somebody that's 20, well, 21, 22?
22.
22 years old, the way those replies are made, come on. That looks like a 40-year-old fucking man that was writing that shit, assuming that's how relationships go now in 2025.
It's
I'm
just
sorry.
very formal. It's very formal.
Too fucking formal. And I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure for the younger audience that has read those transcripts and those text messages, even they have some questions. They raise an eyebrow or two where they go, "What the fuck? This kind of seems scripted." I'm not saying the government scripted it themselves, but it kind of makes you think that maybe this guy's more of a patsy. Let's not forget about George Zinn. Why the fuck did this guy, who was there at the Boston bombing, who was there during 9/11 allegedly, how the fuck is he there during the shooting and then start saying that he shot Charlie Kirk and begging law enforcement to shoot him? And then when they question him, he's saying, "Oh, I did it because I wanted to let the shooter get away." So then maybe it was one more person that worked together, right? To commit that murder. It's just weird. I'm sorry, but it's just weird. You're finding a guy that's been in three catastrophes that happened here in the United States. He's already been in all three: 9/11, Boston bombing, and now the Charlie Kirk assassination. And it doesn't arouse suspicion. It doesn't make you wonder, like, wait, what the fuck is this old geezer doing in all three of these spots? Sounds pretty suspicious to me.
How many coincidences? How many coincidences before they're not coincidences?
Yeah, I would agree. And then he didn't want to go through. He didn't want to go through. He didn't want law enforcement to go through his phone when they arrested him. And at first they were saying why, and he admits because he had child pornography in it. I'm sorry, but I would think the last thing you want to admit as a criminal is that you have storage of child pornography or CP in your phone. Because let's not forget what most of those guys what happens to most of those guys when they get locked up, and you're gonna admit it. It's just weird. It's just weird how that whole situation, even with George Zinn, happened. Like, it's raising a lot of questions, and it's not giving any answers to anybody that people are believing.
There was Twitter accounts that, for like, you could say, foreshadowed the killing. There was
What?
there was a few anonymous Twitter accounts. I don't know the fucking handles. Do your fucking research. But they were saying like, "Oh, Charlie Kirk is coming to my school tomorrow. Um, like, you guys have no idea what's going down, or something big is gonna happen." After he dies, some Twitter accounts in relation to those, like relevant to those, we're tweeting, we did it.
What
So
the
shit like
fuck?
that. So again, is it just a coincidence? Is it just a coincidence that people tweeted that he would get assassinated or that something would happen, something big would happen to Charlie Kirk? Is it?
I don't know. But let us know what you guys think.